Hello and welcome. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit. I'm Smriti Chaudhary, and this show is all about your stock-related questions. So write to us on any of our social media channels or on the WhatsApp number that will be on your screen in a minute. You can also write to us through the YouTube live chat, and we'll take your questions from there. Be it a long-term query or a short-term strategy, write to us and we'll get them answered by our guests. But before we do that, let's take a quick check on where the markets are currently at. The benchmark index is pretty much flat right now, and it's trading. It's a range-bound day for the market. It's trading between those 100 points. It's a slight negative bias on the benchmarks today, but all in all, not too much happening on the benchmarks. But let's look at some of the constituents of the benchmark and see what's moving there. If you look at the laggards, there's the likes of BPCL that's down about 2%, followed by Bajaj Finance on the back of a business update, down about 1.5%. Then there's L&T also down about 1.5%. Among gainers, you have HDFC Bank, again the largest gainer, the biggest gainer on the benchmark today, up about over 1%. There's SBI Life also up about over 1%. Then there's Hero MotoCorp up about 0.8%. Among sectors, you have the realty sector that's doing pretty well today. It's if we can pull up the real constituents of the realty sector as well, and it's up about 1.5%. And you look at the constituents, you have Mahindra Life that's up 5%, Godrej Properties up 3%, Oberoi up 2%. There are some stocks in the negative, something like a Sobha, and this is on the back of the business update that has come. And let's also pull up the breadth of the market today, and it's a bit of a flattish day, and there you can see a bit of chop and churn in the markets. We started off with the favor and advances. It's still continuing that way. Took a hit in the middle in the morning trade, but we're back with the total the breadth in the favor of the advances itself. But let's look at some stock-specific action and what's moving there. But before I move on to that, let me first mark the mid-cap and the small-cap index. You look at the broader end of the spectrum where mid-cap is doing better than the benchmark. It's up about 0.5%, and small-cap also up about 0.5%. Now let's move on to some specific names, something like a Bajaj Finance, which is moving today on the back of its business update. Now, strong growth, but customer additions were disappointing. Then there's something like a Sheela Foam. If we can pull that up, we're seeing strong gains in Sheela Foam as well. This comes on the back of insurance compensation of about 21.4 crores, up about 3%. Then there's Rashi Peripherals that has received an order of 1,500 crores from NMDC data center. Now the market cap, pretty big order, it's up 5%. The market cap of the company is somewhere around 2,300 crores, so a large order there. Then you have something like a Purvankara that's moving within the realty space, and that's on the back of sales value that's up 90% in FY24 and even in Q4. The sales value stands in the fourth quarter at 1,947 crores. But the focus for today is Aavas Financiers. This also is on the back of business update. It's up 6%, and the intraday high was somewhere around 9%. And to elaborate on that, I'm joined by my colleague Harsh Saita. Harsh, strong growth there for Aavas, but do break down the numbers for us.
Well, yes, a strong set overall, 22% growth on the AUM front, and a good comeback when it comes to the disbursement growth. Disbursements, mind you, over the last couple of quarters took a bit of a knock because of the tech stack which the company was trying to improve on. That seems to be now behind them because they've gone back and they've disbursed a solid set of loans. And therefore, this largely, according to Citi, means that going forward, the growth is set to continue. Citi is building in a 24 to 26 kind of 26% kind of growth number for FY 25 and 26, which is impressive for Aavas. Now, already given the fact that your loan growth is strong, your GS3 is falling, which is gross stage 3, gross NPAs have fallen around 14 odd bips on a sequential basis. That's the other positive. What you're expecting, or what Citi is expecting to see, is a lower credit cost number. They are putting credit costs at roughly 15 basis points, which is 0.15%, which is as low as it can possibly get, right? And the other piece that Citi is projecting is ROA improvement in this quarter. So therefore, quite bullish on Aavas. They have a 1,830 rupee target price on Aavas, which is still at least 20% away from the current market price. So plenty of upside still left despite the 6.5-7% move today.
Right. Thank you so much, Harsh, for that. Now, to discuss more on this, we're joined by Vaishali Parekh from Prabhudas, Lilladher, and Ashish Maheshwari from Arihant Capital Market. Thank you to both of you for joining us today on the show. But let's start with you, Ashish, on Aavas. You heard about the numbers, and this is a strong quarter as well. But the question remains: is this growth sustainable? How are you looking at these numbers, and what kind of do you also see this sort of target that Citi has provided, a 20% growth in the stock price in the next 1 year itself?
Yes, as far as Aavas is concerned, just 1 month back, its stock was at 52-week low on account of a large block deal which happened. So from that price, the stock has already moved up by 200 odd rupees. Now, as far as fundamentals are concerned, Aavas is not something like where you can see 50% kind of CAGR, etc. They are slow and steady because they are targeting a certain strata of society where you need to have a lot of accounts to get the kind of growth is warranted for. Even if we see last 3 quarter numbers also, they're very static and steady kind of numbers. Am I expecting similar trend will continue in this quarter also? If we see last 2 years from 355 to 430, and this year also I'm expecting 450 crore kind of profit. So it will move in narrow range, though, as the sector outlook is quite robust. So 1800 cannot be ruled out, which is 52-week high for Aavas Financials. So on any decline, the stock should be added, not at this price.
All right, fair point. Let's start with the questions now. The first one's coming from Prasanna Raj from Pondicherry. This one's on Hudco. Now, they say they bought the stock at 42 and sold at 200. So they made a big profit there. But they want to know if this is a good time to enter the stock once again. Now, Vaishali, from the charts, would you suggest this is an ideal buying range for Hudco?
Well, no, actually, the stock has already run up. I mean, after a bit of a consolidation, I think the stock has really run up right from 170 levels. So I would say we've seen a run up of around 30 to 40 rupees from here on. Better to buy at in decline at around 190 levels if the opportunity arises. Because yes, the long-term trend still shows strength, and this can go towards 220 to 250 levels from here on. But as far as the technical levels are concerned, I would say better to buy it in decline.
Any specific target?
Well, I just said that the first target that I would be looking at is around 225. The next projected target that we would witness, 242, 250.
Got it. Next up, we have a question on L&T Finance. Now, this is coming from, I'm not sure if, do mention your names, viewers. This one's from Nandini from Tamil Nadu. Now, this is, the question is, from a longer term perspective, Ashish, would you suggest buying the stock? It's currently down about over 1%.
If we see, this stock is also at a striking distance of their 52-week high of around 178. And from 2-digit, we have seen a very good journey in L&T Finance. And the way the company has cleaned their stressed book in last few years is quite commendable. And they are also pouring now more on retail loans instead of more institutional loans. Along with, if you might have noticed, they are coming out with a bike loan at less than 6% kind of ROI to get the more market share in that particular space. So my suggestion will be to remain invested in L&T Finance. Don't look at 2 rupees here and there, but this stock has potential to touch 200 rupees in maybe next 6 months time. So I'm quite bullish as far as L&T Finance prospects are concerned.
All right. Next up, we have a question from Deepak Sharma from Punjab. This one's on Devyani. They've already bought the shares, 500 shares at 192 a piece. Currently, the price is below that. Now, Ashish, within the QSR space, we've seen the stock getting downgrades from brokerages as well. I think last month or so. If somebody is already invested into the stock, would you suggest shifting to some other stock within the space?
Yes, Devyani is a stock where we saw some promoter selling and block deals, etc. recently also, and the stock is moving in a very narrow range. So instead of this, I'll prefer Sapphire Food or Zomato, which can give you much better return than Devyani International, because the growth is not there as far as Devyani International businesses are concerned, and they are facing tough competition also. So Sapphire or Zomato, pick your bet.
All right, got it. Next up, we have a question from Vinod from Chennai, and this one's on IDFC First Bank. Vaishali, they've bought the shares at 58 a piece, and can you pull up the chart for IDFC First and see where the stock is currently trading at? Yes, it's up about, not doing too much in trade today, but a considerable profit there. From a shorter term perspective, would you suggest would you suggest holding on to this one?
I would say so, because actually long-term trend is very much intact. In fact, we are recommending this stock once again from these levels, because I think it's ready for the way the banking stocks are doing, and this has been quite a laggard. So I think the risk-reward ratio-wise also 75 holds as a very good support level. And once the stock moves above 80 to 83, I think it's ready for a target of 88. So that's quite a return for a short-term period also. So yes, with 75 as stop loss, I would recommend to add.
Right. Next up, so that's an ad on IDFC First Bank. But let's talk about Vedanta. This one's from Meeta Prajapati from Gujarat, and they've already bought in the shares. They've bought 250 shares at 4,000. This from a longer term perspective for about 5 years. That's the holding period. Okay, it's at 250 a piece and 4,000 quantity. Apologies for that. The price is currently around 313. From a longer term perspective, Ashish, Vedanta, would you continue betting on this metal counter?
Yes, I will continue to bet on Vedanta. And again, the reasons are many. First of all, this is a company which holds multiple commodities, like they are into alumina, into pigway, copper, into zinc, into nickel, into silver, along with oil, which they got because of Cairn acquisition. So multiple businesses, multiple profitable businesses, and good and high dividend distribution policy. So in my view, worst is over now for Vedanta, and surely if you're having a 5-year perspective, then you can play for more than double in Vedanta. But I think in 2024 also, you can expect 400 rupees in Vedanta. Even I am buyer at this price.
All right, fair point. Stick with us, Ashish and Vaishali. It's time for a short break, and viewers, we'll be back in a couple of minutes and take your queries on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're tuned into Ask Profit, and if you haven't sent us your questions, do write to us on any of our social media channels or on the WhatsApp number that's on your screen. You can also write to us on the YouTube live chat. But let's jump into the questions again. This one's from Shrikar from Hyderabad. The question is on Shriram Pistons and Rings. And Ashish, would you have coverage on this particular stock? The question is this a good time to buy? Shrikar says that it's trading at an attractive valuation compared to its peers within the space.
Yes, certainly. If I see financial of this company, they are quite robust. The stock has also rewarded the investors very well. If you see in the last 1 year, from 900, the stock went up to 2,300 rupees. And the kind of profitability, almost 100 crore kind of profit they are reporting quarter over quarter. So the stock is good. Only thing is slightly liquid stock. So like typically you can't trade, but in long run, surely you can continue to remain invested.
Target on this?
Yeah, I think you can continue to remain invested. 1 year, 2,800 to 3,000 rupees also possible, because the way their order book has grown in last 1 year and the way end user industries are doing, this is bound to do well.
All right, fair point. Next up, we have a question from Ratna from Kolkata. This is on HDFC Bank. They bought the shares at 1,435. We saw the business update and we have spoken about the fundamentals of the company in detail since then. But this is a shorter term query. How does the charts look, Vaishali, from a 3-month perspective for HDFC?
Well, if you're looking at 3 months, actually overall we are quite upbeat on the banking sector. So HDFC Bank per se right now, it has shown a good upward move and is rallying towards the 200-day moving average resistance. So I would say for now, if it's really for a short-term period, 1560 level is the level to be watched, because that is where some profit booking can emerge. But if this stock moves above 1560 levels and sustains, then I would be looking at a target of 1600 to 1620. So that is the way the trader should be looking at this stock for now.
All right, fair point. Next up, we have a question from Nikhil from Bangalore. This is on Zomato. Now, we have seen the stock rally in the last month. And Ashish, brokerages continue to remain very upbeat on this stock. But would you suggest buying at these levels?
In fact, this is one of the, if you ask me about the QSR segment, is one of my favorite pick here. And the way now, first of all, the trigger which are going to act in the favor is Swiggy is also planning for an IPO. So if Swiggy IPO will come, Zomato valuations will further get on a upward trajectory. Along with now they are into profit, so whatever the stigma related to loss making, startups, getting higher valuation, etc. are over. And Blinkit has also started performing. So my view is this is a stock, if you ask me, new age businesses, this is one of my favorite pick, and my target for next 1 year is 275 to 300 here. Even I'll advise to buy at any decline Zomato.
All right. Is that this? Would you have a similar view, Vaishali, on this specific stock? What are the buying levels you would suggest for Zomato?
Well, the new round of momentum had begun right from 150 levels. So, but of course, that gets too far. So now, for a near-term perspective, I think 170 acts as a crucial support, 175. So that is a level that I would recommend to buy. And well, for near-term target resistance comes to around 200. Above that, we have other targets of 220, 240, and so on.
All right. Next up, we're gonna talk about RCF now, Rashtra Chemicals and Fertilizers. This one's from Namita Singh. They say that they're holding the stock, but they're in losses on this specific counter. From a technical standpoint, Vaishali, they want to know if they should continue holding from a 3 to 6 month perspective. Do you see any upside of recovery? Now, I'm not sure what kind of losses they have, but do you see some sort of upside in the stock?
So, well, actually, now that the person is in loss, I'm seeing the longer term time frame chart, like right from the monthly to weekly. most of it is showing a lot of strength. And right now, I would say that yes, overall, if you see, chemical and fertilizer stocks have shown good strength, good momentum, and bounce signs of reversals. So same goes for RCF also. We saw the stock right in the recent past from 190 levels, it's corrected, and we saw a low at around 118, 120. From there on, we are seeing a bounce coming in. So I would say continue holding. In fact, if the stock goes a bit again into a corrective mode, and keeping in mind 120 as a support, this can be added.
All right. Next up, we have a question from, okay, they haven't mentioned their name again. And viewers, a request, do please mention your name and from where you're writing from. This is on ITC and okay, Hemant has written to us from West Bengal and they have bought 250 shares of ITC. Not sure of what the buy price here is, but Ashish, we saw the governor talk about consumption and how rural consumption is picking up, and ITC seems to be doing well in comparison to its peers. But from a longer term perspective, would you suggest holding on to ITC?
Yeah, I'll recommend to hold ITC for longer term perspective, and I agree with you. Like the way consumption is going up, and this time we should not forget there's an election quarter, etc. So a lot of money will go in hands of rural population. And second thing, this is a record summer time, so their FMCG product will get good traction. And as we are expecting good monsoon also this time, so it will again benefit to their agri portfolio. So overall, I am bullish. I think the worst is over for ITC related to bad selling mistake, etc. But it's time to accumulate gradually such a stock.
All right, time to accumulate ITC. And interesting factors Ashish mentioned about heat waves being predicted and how that will be a positive for a stock like ITC. But unfortunately, we're completely out of time on this edition of Ask Profit. Thank you so much, Ashish and Vaishali, for joining us and for answering so many questions for us. And viewers, thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back on Monday, same time, 11:30 a.m. Till then, do keep writing us your queries, and we'll definitely try and take most of your queries. And but don't go anywhere. There's lots more lined up here on NDTV Profit.
Hello and welcome. You are watching NDTV Profit. I'm Agam Vakil. Let's start with how the market's panning out. Well, we have the verdict from the Reserve Bank of India. There has been no change as far as interest rates are concerned, but plenty of commentary, plenty of factors to look forward to through the course of the next few months and, of course, years. And, of course, we're also going to have the Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikanta Das address a press conference. In fact, there you have it on the screen, where he is about to, well, take questions from the media. In the meantime, of course, to mark out how things have panned out, as far as the markets are concerned, they're very, very flat. We haven't seen too much traction overall. Of course, we are keeping an eye on the interest rate sensitives, and we have in fact seen a relatively quiet day of trade. But we are looking forward to what the Reserve Bank of India's governor says with respect to some of the questions that will be coming through. I reckon a lot will be focused on inflation coming in, even though there are no severe concerns that are being raised. Besides that, several other factors which would include production, as well as perhaps how the elections can play out and what implications can it have in the near term as far as the economy is concerned. Several other aspects there, but here let's move on to that.
Welcome to the first policy of 24-25. Today with us we have Governor Shri Shaktikant Das, Deputy Governors Dr. M.D. Patra, Shri M. Rajeshwar Rao, Shri T. Ravi Shankar, Shri Swaminathan J, and two Executive Directors, Dr. O.P. Mal and Dr. Rajiv Ranjan. So as is customary, I would request Governor to make some opening remarks, and then we'll go for the Q&A.
Good morning. Namaskar. I guess I will not be off the mark if I say that the policy overall is on expected lines. So it demonstrates that I think the Reserve Bank, the market participants, the market players, and perhaps the media and analysts and all, every stakeholder, I think the thinking is at the moment well aligned so far as the monetary policy is concerned. But having said that, I just want to make 5 observations. First, inflation is moderating and the GDP growth is robust. Number 2, the Monetary Policy Committee remains focused on aligning inflation to the target on a durable basis